Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mallikarjun. So in our previous session, we stopped it at the network configuration where we had some installation of our grid setup. We had some network configuration and it was saying some scan is having IPv4 and IPv6 issues and uh, the interfaces, the VIP interface is having a dual boot and dual interfaces. The VIP network or VIP IC is having dual subnets. So all those issues we got it. And then today when I was going through network setting, I got to know that what was that issue. Probably I fixed it on node 1. So what was that issue? Like while assigning these interfaces, now you can see connected, connected, connected. So we don't have a dual interface. So ENPS3, ENPS8, and ENPS9, all three interfaces are connected to each one of them. So and if I do ifconfig, I can see 1.128, 2.128, and then 4.15 are connected to S3, S8, and S9. Similarly, we'll do it on the other nodes. Uh, let's see here. I'll just go ahead and then remove all the existing interfaces. Says config network scripts, LLIFCFG, LLIFCFG, ENS star. So these are the interfaces. I'll just remove them. RM, SSS, service, network restart. Right. So now you can go to your system tools here. What we made a mistake, we need to select that MAC address. So we're not doing that. And that's where no, we were having that issue. Now I'll take this ENS3 copy, and then we can give the profile name as ENS3 IPv4 manual 19, okay, 192.168.1.129 255. These are now a second node. And then your IPv6 is disabled. And then in this identity, you have to checkbox is MAC address and select this ANS S3, then apply it here. That will be like one-to-one mapping. Click on the second one and then go ahead and then interface 8 and then MAC address associated is 8 and then IPv4 is manual 192.168.2.98, so 198.2.229. And then 255.255.255.0 IPv6 is disabled and then apply. The other one is your DHCP, because make sure that your MAC address is assigned and then it's going to be DHCP, IPv6 is disabled and then apply. Done. So now you can do service network restart and then you should see your IPs are constant. Ifconfig, right, 1.1.2 129, 2.2, 129, and then 15. So all looks good now. Now go ahead and run that grid setup. Let's see whether will that work. CD U01 app 19 grid / grid setup .sh. Okay, the new cluster setup and standalone cluster setup. And then my cluster name is Vivara CLU. And then scan will be like Oracle scan. Next. Installer detected scan is configured with the dual stack address. Okay, fine. So again, same thing. I need to do a final reboot because since we made a network changes, I need to put them. Go back here, close this one, done, and then I'll start it one more time. VM1. And then my VM2. Both the VMs are getting started. Okay, VM1 is ready. Log in here. VM2 is also ready. Maximize, take a new tab and log into root here. Make sure that again, same process, cd etc result.conf. Sorry, cp/etc result.conf backup file, etc result dot, that's one thing, and then service named restart. Right, so same thing, I'll go here on the other node. Su root, paste here, yes, service named restart. Done. So these two are mandatory steps. Now, I'll just once again make sure that network setting is persistent, whatever we did. Okay, connected, connected, connected. Absolutely looks good. System tool settings, connected, connected, connected. So everything looks good. One final checks, cat/etc hosts. So one of the node ns lookup. Node 1 ns lookup works fine. Node 2 ns lookup works fine. Scan 1 Oracle scan. So that also works good. Looks good. And then I'll do same thing on the other nodes. Node 1 ns lookup goods looks good. Node 2 ns lookup looks good. And then scan. Okay, that also looks good. So now go back here, U01 app 19c grid /grid setup.sh. Okay, standalone installation. Vara cluster. Vara-cluster. Oracle scan. Next. Okay, looks good now. Oracle lab 2 dot local domain.com. Oracle lab 2 -vip dot local domain.com. Add, just compare with both of them. Oracle lab 1, Oracle lab 2, local domain.com, local domain.com. Oracle lab 1 VIP, Oracle lab 2 VIP, local domain.com. Right, next. It will do that SSH connectivity and public IP, private IP. SSH performed between the detected node, which may be impact the performance during the remote operation. SSH performance is detected. Okay, what is that? Okay, let's go here. Okay, that's fine. I'll just click OK, yes, to continue. I'll just take new sessions here. Control R, root. It says there's a performance impact between, like there's a performance slowness between both the nodes. Just take a new connection here for this node. 29. Why 29 is not reachable? Let's see. ifconfig 1.29 not reachable. Ping. Okay, so cat etc hosts service network restart. Then if I go here, system tools, setting here, 192.168. So okay, this will be like 168. That was the typo here. Apply. Okay. Service network restart. Done. ifconfig. It will be like 192.168. Okay, now it looks good. Now we can go back here. no. Now you can go next. You should not get that error message now. Testing SSH connectivity. Now you can retry connection. Root Malik here. Okay, I'm able to log in both the nodes. Log into Oracle and then do SSH on node 1. Right, it's working fine. So you can go to node 1, log into Oracle user, do SSH on node 2, SSH on node 2, which is working fine. Right, so now absolutely looking good. Okay, perfect. Finally, we got this beautiful screen, right? Earlier it was, giving me same subnet. So that's because of we are not using the MAC address. That's the root cause, right? We got public and then we got this private. So I can say that ASM and private. So other two, I'm not going to use this. These two will just leave it blank. Perfectly looks good now. So now we have two options. One is use Flex ASM for storage or use the shared ASM file system for storage. I'll just use the shared ASM and then you see the available network subnet marked for use automatic storage management. So you cannot use that shared file system in this case. So I'll just go with the Flex ASM for storage. And then do you want to configure your management repository? Yes, I'll go with the management repository. That is MGMT database. And then do you want to create automatic store management for your grid infrastructure MGMT? Do you want to create a separate automatic storage management for your uh, that MGMT database? You want to go with a separate mount point for that? If you want, you can go with that. If not, then you can say no. I'll just go with the default, whatever the mount point, whatever the disk group, or I'll just save my MGMT database on that existing disk group. Right. So and then like discovery path, go ahead and then change it to dev Oracle ASM and then /disks /star. So then okay, you can see you have 3 disks, 1 GB, 20 GB, and 10 GB. So I'll just select one disk. I'll go with the external redundancy. I'll make it as a OCR with 1 GB disk. Next, other two, I'll use it. Other two, I'll use it for my this two and this two, I'll use it for data and reco. So what it says, I'll go with the external 1 GB disk, Oracle ASM disk. It says insufficient space available in the selected disk. Okay, insufficient space available for selected disk. At least 28 GB of space is required. Right, so this is because you selected that MGMT database, so it is expecting at least 28 GB. So what I can do, I can go back and then I can remove that MGMT database. Do you want to, okay, do you want to configure your MGMT repository database? I'll say no, then go next. Now I removed my MGMT database. So now I'll use this 1 GB disk to just to store my OCR or the repository. If I go next, okay, now it says at least we need 1.2 GB space for this one. I'll just quickly add one more disk. Okay, so at least I need 1 GB disk here. Like I'll just go ahead and click OK. I need to cancel everything. I need to bounce it one more time. So just okay, no worries. We will do it quickly. Power off, and then power off, and then I'll create one more disk. We created disk 1 with 1 GB. Now I'll create one more disk. Virtual Media Manager. I'll just add one more disk. Create a disk, and then VDI virtual disk image, and then fixed size, and then I'll go with the D1 disk 1 underscore 1. I'll just make it as a disk 1 underscore 2. That is for my disk 1. I'm just going to add one more disk with 1 GB each. So then, and then I'll just create it. Then you can make it as a seriable. I'll make sure that I'll create one more disk. So just to add few more space on that, create VDI, fix in size, and the same thing, disk 1 underscore 2, disk 1 underscore 3. That's the second disk, and this is the third disk, which is of 1 GB again. That's done, and then make it shareable. Apply it. Close it. So now we can go back to node 1 and then add those two disks. Your storage. Go back here. Add disk disk 1_2, and then disk 1_3. Then apply it here, and then start this VM, and then go to other VM settings, and then your storage, and then same thing, disk 1_2, and then same disk 1_3. Done. So okay, then start this VM. Restart one more time. So these are like common issues. If you have like space crunch, and if it like these are the common issues, you have to go neck to neck. You don't want to waste the space, and at the same time you want to get installation successful. So you have to like give a trial and error message. If you have enough space, then go ahead and create larger disks, and then you don't space these kind of error messages. So now again, we need to do the same process. We added two disks, we have to format them, and we have to create ASM disks. Go back here, like I'll take a new session here, root. Then I'll take a new session here. Oh, perfect. Go back here, /dev, LLSD star. You got this E and F, same thing, F disk hyphen F disk lev STE, new primary, go with that and save. And similarly, do STE, you formatted STE1. Similarly, you can go STF, new, go with the default option, save, and do that one. SDF, you formatted SDF1. So now you can do Oracle. So /dev Oracle ASM disks. This ASM disk 1. Now I'll make it ASM disk 1_1, because those are part of same disk group. Oracle ASM create disk. I'll give the same name, create disk, disk 1_2 from your dev SDE1. Right. So, and then similarly STF1, I'll make it as 3. If I do LL, you can see ASM disk 1 and 1_2, 1_3. These three are belongs to my OCR. This is my data, and this is my reco. Okay, now if I do Oracle ASM list disks, then okay, list disks. So I got all the disks here. And the same command, if I run it on the other nodes, and then you don't see, you have to do the scan first. Scan disks, and then do list disk, you got all the disks here. Now you can go back and run the same run installer cd/u01 app Oracle 19c grid, and then /grid setup.sh. So the management repository, I'll just ignore it, because we need another 30 GB disk for in order to install that management repository database. So I don't have that much of space on my laptop. So I'll just go with the grid infrastructure installation for new cluster. That's going to be new standalone cluster. And then my Vara CLU is a cluster name. Oracle scan is the name. Go next. Installer detector specified. Okay, again I need to restart my server, or else go back here. System tool settings. Okay, this all looks good. Again, reboot is the option. Go back and reboot this one as well. These are the common known issues when you are working on your Oracle VirtualBox and on your own lab, on your laptop or desktop. So once you've done a setup, then that's it. You don't need to worry. So that will be like fixed. Whatever network issue comes, that will not be impacted with the existing setup. Only the setup is the the major issue here. Setting up will take a lot of time, and a lot of issues you will face is in fact when you're working on your lab. Okay, Oracle Lab 2 is ready. What about Oracle Lab 1? Okay, done. User on app 19c grid grid setup .sh. Oracle Clusterware setup, standalone Clusterware setup, or CLU, Oracle scan. Installer has detected the specified scan name is configured with the dual stack address. Okay, dual stack address. So let's go back and verify one more time. Settings here. IPv6 disabled. IPv6 disabled. IPv6 is disabled. Go to other nodes. IPv6 is disabled. IPv6 is disabled. IPv6 is disabled. So all IPv6 are disabled here. Let's go back here. One dot 128, 2.128. Okay, that looks good. 1.129, 2.129, 4.15. Cat etc hosts. NS lookup. Okay, that's other thing we need to check it again. We forgot that one. Okay, so yeah, log into root. Again, we not copied that one. /etc resolve.config backup files resolve.config. Done, and then service named restart. So same thing, I'll do it on the other node. Copy node 1, go to other node here, su root, paste it here. Service named service named restart. Right, so now one more things to verify. It is NS lookup of your scan. Done. So Oracle Lab 1, Oracle Lab 2. Scan Oracle Lab 1, Oracle Lab 2. Okay, looks good. Go back here. Next. Now it's working fine. Finally. Oracle Lab 2 dot local domain.com. Oracle Lab 2 -vip dot local domain.com. Looks good. Okay, looks good now. We'll see this time it should pass because we fixed all the issues, whatever we faced so far in our previous session and this session. Validating your inventory, accessing public, private, scan, and other nodes. Yeah, looks good. Do with ASM and private. Yeah, this all looks good. Next, Flux ASM. I'll not go with the management repository. And then discover string, dev, Oracle ASM, disks /star, and you should see all the disk 1, 1_2, disk 1_3. These three I'll select here, and then I'll make it as a OCR. This group name is a OCR, and I'll go with the external redundancy. So this become 1 GB, 1 GB, 1 GB. It become 3 GB each year. No, 3 GB. Right. So now it proceeded further. That's good. I'll give the SysASM password. Go next. And then that IPMI, I'm not going to install it. We'll go with the next. And then EM code controller, I'll not do it. I'll not do it. And then I'll just go with the OInstall as a default group for my grid infrastructure. And then user and app Oracle is the base. User and app 19C grid is a grid binaries or the grid infrastructure home. Go next. The specified Oracle base is not empty. Do you want to proceed further? Yes, I want to proceed because that's a directory I created. It has some more subdirectories inside that. If I go here, I don't have it here. Okay. Now if I go here, user1 app, user1 app, Oracle. So I have some more directory like product, my DB home I created there. That's where that error message. So root script execution, I'll run it manually. I'll not pass it here for automation execution. And then it'll do some system pre-checks. Whatever we did at run Cluffy pre-check, same thing it'll do. And then most of the network things I can just ignore it. Okay, doing most of the checks here. Right, physical memory I can ignore. That Awahi daemon, that's fine. RPM package, okay, just do fix and check again. Okay, this is the script it got. Just copy that one and then run it as a root user. Paste here, done. Go to other node, run, done. Go back to that installation screen, click OK. It will not do checks again. It will immediately, it says, okay, that's all fine. This Awahi warning, I can just ignore it. And this physical memory, I can ignore it. And this RPM is just information. Then I'll go ignore all of them. And then just next. You have chosen some ignore prerequisite checks. You want to continue? Yes. And then this is your summary. You can just read through it. Grid infrastructure installation, your Oracle grid home, and your Oracle base, and your group primary group and secondary group, and root execution is manual, and management information is done, and grid infrastructure, whatever the scan name, cluster name, and nodes, and then the storages. Then save your response file, then install. That's it. It'll take few minutes to install. So I'll just open one more session here. 192.168.1. Sorry, 192.168.1.128. Installation is going on here. I will watch that in the screen here. I'll just take. Anyway, I can put it here, or I can make it small. This small here. Wait a minute. Okay. I'll take this screen, and then I'll keep it this one here. Keep it this one here. And I'll take this one here, so that we can monitor everything in one screen. Yeah. So this is a log it gave here. So if you want, like, where is that one here? This is the log. You can copy it, and then go back here, tail-f, then check this one. And then furthermore, this is your response file, and then grid infrastructure. If we go here and then details, you can see whatever's happening here. Okay, now it's asking you to run the root execution script here. Run this root execution script on node 1 and node 2 as a root user. So I'll just cancel this one here. I'll take one more duplicate session, root, connect to node 1. Okay, run it here. Enter. So it's going on here. In the meantime, you can monitor that one. Okay, this is your that root, whatever that root.sh root execution, that's a cluster configuration script. You can tail this one here in the other screen. I'll cancel this installation screen, installation log, and tail that root execution. So this is your root execution. It's going to start your GPNP profile, your CRS, your routing this OCR, all of them. It'll be like 13 steps. It's going to do it like 1 of 19, 2 of 19, 3 of 19, 4 of 19, 5 of 19, like all of them. You can see setup, TFA, validate node, check node, GS, all of this, like 8 of 9, all of this. Those the respective log. You can see it here, what's happening. Right, so 12 of 19, adding Clusterware entries to your Oracle OHST service. And then I'll take, okay, this is 13 of 19. I'll take one more session for the other node. Just take 29. I'll keep it ready for that node for the root execution. Two session for that node 2. Session 1, session 2. Okay, now 16 of 19 init config. The respective log you can see here. CRS, it will start CRS exclusive, CSS only. It is starting my CSS in exclusive mode. Right, so it's going on. Right, so 6 of 19, that is init config going on. It's going to create OCR, this password file and all of this disk here. Right, so ASM has been created, started successfully, and disk group created. You can see this is your disk group creation log, and then running the command, upgrade your OCR config. You can see this is your ASM disk 1. Your OCR sits on this disk. Cluster OCR stands for Oracle Cluster Registry. That's a cluster information which is sitting on this ASM disk 1. That is your OCR disk group. That's a OCR is the disk group name, and then that contain your ASM disk 1, ASM disk 1 underscore 2, disk 1 underscore 3, 3 disks together, making my disk group. That is OCR, where you are storing your OCR disk groups. Whatever the OCR disk group, you have contained that OCR information. Go back here, you can see now it is doing a stop CRS forcefully, and then it will start the CRS with that OCR, whatever the registry it has done. That is your step number 16. Okay, executing installation of step 17, that is start cluster. CRCTL start CRS. You can see CRCTL start CRS. That's your cluster start. Another 2 more steps. Node 1 is done. We'll go back to node 2, go to node 2, and then run the same root script. Right, so 17 step CRS start is completed, and now it is doing 18, that config node. Your CRS is started, so your ASM and Clusterware, all the registries up and running here on node 1. That's a node configuration it is doing. All this scan. Qma server, okay, a lot of things it will gonna add it. Always best practice is to tail your log whenever you're doing any kind of installation, any clusterware installation, Oracle home installation, Oracle database creation, whatever you do, you always tail the logs so that you will see more information, and then you will actually see what's happening inside your clusterware. Done. So go back here. Your 18 step completed, and 19 step, the post execution. So your installation is almost done on this node 1. So this is all like post execution steps. Done. You can see configuration of grid infrastructure for a cluster is succeeded. This is very, very important, and good message that there are no issues on this node for this cluster setup. So the cluster setup, whatever you did here on this node on, it all went fine. And the log message also says the same thing, right? So now you can run the same command on the node 2. So this is my node 2. I'm just going to run it here. Just enter. Then just cancel this log. I'll go back to that old log. And then this one again, this node 2, whatever you ran this root.sh script here, it has its own log file here. you can go to other window and then you can tail that one. Now what happens here, it is going to do that cluster setup here, and then it's going to add this cluster node to that existing node, whatever that node one it become your cluster node one now. And then whatever you're running this node 2 here, it is going to add this node to that existing cluster on that node 1. You can see it's already went into step number 12 of 19, and then it is going to install the TFA successfully. And then 13 of 19, 14 of 19, install SFS, 16 of 19. So the node 2 will be very fast. So because it's not going to build the new cluster here, all the cluster setup is done on that node 1. It's just going to start all the services here and then add it to that existing cluster. You can see 17 of 19 starting the cluster. You can see CRS starts CRS on this node. And then it will join that node to that existing cluster. Yeah, CRS start CRS. The node 2 execution will be very fast compared to that node 1. Node 1 is like kind of a fresh installation, and it's going to do all from the scratch, and it's going to be like starting all the cluster, voting disk, OCR registry, and all the disk groups, and then it's going to start the Clusterware formation, and then it will start the ASM and other services. Whereas in node 2, it's just going to add this node to that existing cluster. You can see already Clusterware started on this node, and then it's doing that node addition, like configuration is like node addition. If you go and check on the log here, it's going to do node add to that existing cluster. I think it's done here. Like, see, the configuration of grid infrastructure for this second node is successfully completed. And you can see the same message on the log as well. Right, go back to your installation screen, click on OK. Turn here. And then go back to that log file, installation log file. It's here. You can see now it's doing updating inventory, ASM net configuration, automatic storage management. Automatic storage management. Done. Oracle Clusterware verification. After this one, it will start doing all the post checks now. You can see it's all doing the verification. Oracle Clusterware verification utility. So at the end, it's going to fail. I'm sure about that. It's going to fail that unable to verify cluster verification utility. That is kind of a known message, so we can ignore that one. So you can see all the checks it's doing there, verifying your OLR, OCR, scan, your VIPs, public IPs, voting disk. All it's going to do that make all the post checks. That is a Clusterware verification utility. Right, so synchronization of your clock, yeah, it's all passed. So you can see, oh, that's a success message. That's a very good message. That's it. I can click OK, go back to your putty session here. Just cancel this one here. Do ps-ef grep smon, and you can see your ASM1 is running here. Go on the other node. Do ps-ef grep smon. Your other node is running here. ASM2. You can do cat etc var tab. You see your ASM entry. Cat etc var tab. Okay, ASM entry is not added, so that's a deprecated in 19C nodes. You have to manually add it. If needed, so I'll just go ahead and run it. .inv plus ASM1. And then right now I can give that home details here. Later I'll add it. Right, and then if you need it, like you can go ahead and add it. etc or a tab. You'll go here, click next, plus ASM1 : Oracle home : no. Just save this one. Similarly, I'll go on the node to vi/etc or a tab. I'll just add that entry. Done, save. And then now you added that one, done one more time. .inv .space .inv plus ASM1 CRS CTL check CRS. You can see all the services are online here. Same thing you can do it on the other node. .inv plus asm2, sorry, .inv plus asm2. Okay, so here we need to make it plus asm2, not the plus asm1. Plus asm2, done the same CRSCTL check CRS. All the port services are online here, and then CRSCTL stat resource -t -init. All the services are online here. Same command you can run it on the other node. All the services are online. Most of them are whatever needed. Other thing is CRSCTL stat resource -t from all the cluster wide. Your ASM is up and running on node 1. And okay, now if I run the same command on the other node, your ASM is online and stable on node 2. And then if I go back here, your ASM services online and stable, and then stable node 2. Okay, where is that? Okay, here ASM is stable on node 2, and then here it is started and stable on node 1. One more time you can verify yes, S1, you can do pmon, and then you can do the same thing on the node 1, sorry, node 2, S1, and then you can do the same thing on pmon. Right, so your ASM is up and running on both nodes. You can run the same command crctl stat resource -t -init. You can see your listener up and running on both nodes. Your CHST, CHA is running, net1 is running, ONS is running. Your ASM listener is running on both nodes. Your scan1 is running, scan2, scan3 is running. Your OCR disk group is running on both the nodes. Your ASM is running on both the nodes. Your ASM net1 network service is running on node 1, CVU running on this one. Your Oracle lab 1, lab 2 VIPs are running. Your QO server is running. Your scan1, scan2, scan3, everything is running here. Same command, if you run it on the other node, you'll see the same result. Just enter here, run that, you'll see the same result here. Okay, that's it. So that's a quick setup of your clusterware, and then in tomorrow's class we'll see Oracle RAC home installation and on Oracle RAC database creation. Right, so thank you guys.